Well, we've been waiting on this one, Brock. Excited to sit down with Mariners pitcher Bryce Miller, who's stopping by. Good morning, Bryce.
Morning. How are you?
How's camp? How is it here in another year? And you kind of come in with a set place, and you know who you are, and you know who your teammates are, you know what your rotation is. What's that level of confidence coming into a camp like this?
Yeah, it's good. Definitely, for me personally, a lot different than the last couple of years. Coming in, kind of, I ended the season pretty good and on a heater, and just coming into this year, trying to carry it over and continue the success moving forward. And I think us as a staff, after last season, we know obviously we had a really good season on the mound, and we're just going to continue to push each other to get better and try to keep it up and continue to give us a chance to win.
You enjoy this, huh? They had you mic'd up the other day. I think I watched that video 3 times.
Yeah, it was a good video. They did a good job. That's just a normal day.
That is a normal day.
Mm-hmm.
So you just squawk all day at everybody?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, today I'm kind of on brash, but giving Sauce a break. But
So were you born this way?
I think so.
Were you?
I mean,
You got siblings?
no, just
Okay.
me.
So it's just you.
You're a lonely only?
I am.
Really?
Yeah, so it's when I'm here, it's like that's as close as it gets to
Family.
yeah. So
Brothers.
So
So
I
you
like to
kind of
have
take
fun.
on the little brother role and just start teasing
Or
everyone
big
else?
brother role.
It feels like a little brother. No? What do you think?
Instigator role.
Instigator.
I like to instigate,
middle,
especially
middle child role, maybe.
yeah,
There you go.
especially the guys that you get a good response out of. So that would be Sauce he's probably the main culprit. But
Because he what?
you just you get a good response out of it. It's entertaining for myself. Maybe not for him.
And
but
then why brash?
it's a completely different response than Sauce. I think Brash kind of sometimes he gets a little emotional. So it's fun to see. It's fun to mess with
Are you
him
like
as
trying
well.
to make him cry?
Sometimes I think he might cry. I don't
Oh.
know.
Jeez.
Do you think
Now I feel bad for him.
No, he's not crying.
Bryce, do you think it's like this other places? Your buddies in baseball from A&M and otherwise, and all the training you guys do now. Do you feel like this place is unique relationally? The closeness that you have with Logan and, George and the fun you all have? Or do you think this would be fairly common in the other 29 big league camps?
I'm not sure. I mean, this is where I've come up, and this is all I've known. But I do think it's got to be pretty unique just with how close that we are as a staff. And really, the whole team is a pretty young team, and we all hang out together outside of the field, and we have a lot of fun. So I think it's pretty valuable in itself. Having a team that feels like I can go up and talk to anybody in the clubhouse and joke with them or talk serious. Like we're able to do all that, and I would have to guess it's pretty unique, especially within the staff. It's going on year 3 of all 5 of us, year 3, and it's just a really good group.
Do you clearly you guys have a lot of fun, and clearly we see you guys joking with each other and teasing each other and all of that. We know you guys like to work with each other and go through spin rates and little tweaks, and you watch each other's bullpens and all that. Do you guys have serious life conversations as well? Is there a brotherhood? I mean, you guys are all around the same age, going through the same life decisions with marriage and families and everything else that could come up in your mid to late 20s. How much are you guys having the serious life conversations?
Yeah, it happens. I wouldn't say as much as just our casual messing around conversations, but it's a long season, and all of us go through different parts of the season where we're at a high or we're at a low, and that could be on the field or off the field, and that kind of goes back to just how close we are. We're able to talk to each other about what's going on off the field or what's going on the field and how we're feeling about stuff, and so it's definitely it's a good thing to be able to have those people to talk to and to lean on like when you need them, because it's this being all over the place and all over the country and places that you're not familiar with, like you got to have a way to kind of like detach and separate from the field. And like I said, everybody goes through stuff, so you definitely need those guys to be able to talk to.
So you talk about highs and lows, and you kind of gone through a little of both of them, but a lot more highs, thankfully. When did things click for you as a pitcher?
I think I've had a couple, like right whenever I got called up, like things were going so easy and so good. I was just every fifth day going out there and throwing fastballs, and they weren't hitting it. And then that took about a month, and then they started to figure me out. And going into last season, like I knew I had things that I needed to do. I needed to adjust and get better. And I think I had a good first half last year, but I really didn't put it all together until the second half. And I think there's multiple reasons for that, but one being I added the curveball that I took from Mike Bowman. I messed around with the cutter a little bit, and really I was just trying to focus on like being more present day to day and preparing a little better mentally, because you look back at the 24 season, like I circled 2 games in the first half that that came back to bite me, or that I didn't like the outcome, and those were Kansas City and Miami. And I circled those games just because I didn't feel like those were really my 2 blow-up starts of the first half, but I didn't feel like I got beat by the other team. It was more mentally. Like those 2 games, I kind of, we got out in Kansas City to a huge lead in the first inning, and then I kind of let off the gas a little bit and let them claw back, and then Miami just kind of came out slow and didn't prepare mentally how I would other games. And going into the back half of the season, I think kind of learned from that and used my new pitches, a little differently. And I felt like I was a lot more mentally prepared going into each start. And I trust all my stuff and have, 7 pitches now that I can trust. And it's just, at the end of the day, it comes down to execution and not letting a single pitch, slide by.
Did you say 7?
Yeah, he said 7.
7?
I've heard that story about Bowman, that you just saw him like throwing that curveball one day. We're like, I'm going to throw that in a game tonight. Scott was like, you are?
How do you grip your curve?
So I go off the splitter grip. I just pull this up.
Just right there.
And just rip it like a heater.
Do you always start in the glove splitter grip?
Yeah.
Yeah. How come?
I have to, just because I push it way down deep, like to the palm, and it's just a very difficult grip to get to if
you don't start
if
there.
I'm not started.
Gotcha.
Like if I started with just a heater grip and like I wanted to throw a splitter, like it'd be really obvious. I'd be digging in my glove trying to get it.
So you get all the way to the palm there, and that's where it all starts.
Yeah, everything starts here and then adjust from there.
So what are the can you do it quickly? If that's the starting spot, that's your splitter, you're throwing that. What are the other 6?
Yeah, so we got split, and then we got the 4, sinker. We got the hard slider, the gyro. We got the sweeper right here, and then we got the curveball, and then the cutter is right here. So
the cutter's there. How much of that is grip versus where the pressure points are on each of that, or are they just synonymous?
I think it depends pitch by pitch.
Okay.
Really, everything is just grip except for the cutter. I try to squeeze more middle finger and try to keep this finger, the index finger, out of the way.
Yep.
That kind of helps me. If I'm not thinking middle finger, then I get behind it too much, and it's just a bad fastball.
Yeah.
So that's not what we want. But everything else, it's just I've always been like I don't like to think, mid pitch or whatever to manipulate the ball in any way. I like it to be like get a grip and just throw it as hard as I can.
Grip it and rip it.
Yeah.
So what did you do at A&M? I saw you speaking this year to the high school baseball coaches there in Texas. Really fun. And you said basically like you didn't know much of any of this, right, at A&M. So at A&M, did you even have the splitter at A&M?
No, I added the splitter last offseason.
Right.
So, no, at A&M I had just throw it as hard as I can, fastball, and I had the hard slider. I got the slider from junior college. That's where I added that.
Yeah.
And I had a loopy curveball that I'd play with that I just, just the traditional, just get out in front and throw it straight down. But it wasn't very good. So it was just mainly throw the fastball as hard as I can and throw the slider off of it. And it worked. It just I progressed really quickly once I got to pro ball and really dug into the analytics, and it was something that came pretty natural to me. Just being able to understand the analytics and how I can use that to manipulate shapes and see a shape and figure out how to get to it. And
why do you think some guys throw capably 5, 6, 7 pitches, and some guys are like, yeah, I'm good with 2. I don't want to mess around anymore. I'm going to throw these 2 all the time. What allows one person to succeed one way or the other?
I think the way that certain guys throw makes it easier to manipulate the ball in certain ways. And then there's also guys like Strider, for example, where like just the heater and the slider are just so much ahead of anything else. It's like it's hard to, throw something different whenever you can succeed with just those 2. But for me, I've always had a little bit of cut on the heater, and I'm behind the ball, and things just I'm able to make a move and manipulate the shape relatively easily. So I don't really know how I got like that, but
Who taught you how
unfortunate.
To pitch? Who taught you how to pitch?
I never had I didn't have a lifetime pitching coach or anything, and it was, I had a guy, David Wood, a long time ago, kind of set the foundation for me, and that was, I don't know, when I was 12 or around there. And, through high school, I didn't focus on pitching. I didn't really want to pitch. I wanted to hit. And it was just, I always would long toss. I took care of my arm. I would throw hard from the outfield. But that was my main purpose of doing arm care, was to throw people out from the outfield. And then just kind of came naturally as I progressed. And Coach Childress at A&M, he helped me, get down the mound quicker, and the drills that I do in my bullpens every day, those are from him. So it's just bits and pieces from my career throughout baseball, dating all the way back to Little League. It's kind of just how it came naturally. So I don't like to get very mechanical. I've never been like a super mechanical guy, and so it's just.
You and Logan are alike like that, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, I just like to, like, if something seems off, like it's all feel for me. So like, if it feels off, I'll just try to figure out what I need to do drill wise just to get that feeling back, and then I'm good.
Still think of yourself as a hitter?
I don't want to hit anymore.
No, you're all done with that?
Yeah.
You get in the traject machine and see what you look like or anything like that?
I want to. Every time I walk past it, I'm like, I want to see what it looks like with me up there. But and plus, I know I'm not going to get hit if it's the machine. So, no, that would be cool. But
they can do that. You want us to talk to them about that?
I've been trying.
They did that with Munoz. I think it was last year.
Did they?
They had him in there. I think they were trying to help the confidence. Like, hey, this is what you look like.
Yeah.
And then he went in there and was like, dear God, that's what I look like? I don't want to hit against that.
Hey, last thing for me, Bryce, you use that word feel, and I think this is our 16th spring training that let us do this, believe it or not, and we've seen a lot of it. We've heard over the course of this week there's been a feeling that maybe the temperature's down just a little bit, that meeting to meeting to meeting to this to this to this to, there's just kind of a little bit of, and this is from afar and you don't have to agree with any of it, but just from a, hey, let this thing breathe a little bit, let the guys breathe a little bit. How would you kind of characterize the difference between this camp with Dan and kind of some of the new voice and leadership, maybe to the last couple with the different regime?
Yeah, I think it is a little bit more laid back, but at the same time, I think we're also focusing on like making sure that we're ready to go game one. And I think that's something that we haven't done in the past is, we've kind of come out slow, and we've had guys that doesn't seem like they're ready to go game one. And, you look at the last 2 years, we're one game short. So that could be, it doesn't have to be the last game of the year that is the one that causes us to not make the playoffs. Like there's a lot of games throughout the year that, especially, I mean, looking at last year just in particular, that we felt like we blew early on. And just, you know, I think that's one of the main things that is different this year. Like, we're getting guys ABs early. Even if we're on the mound and we throw 1 or 2 innings early, like, we're working in the weight room to make sure our bodies are still getting ready and building up for the season. And I think it's going to be good for us to hopefully come out strong and not really have the excuse of, oh, it's early. You know, it's something that has kind of bothered me the last couple of years, just coming out and, you know, haven't just using that excuse like it's early. Like, that's why we lost today. Like, that shouldn't be an excuse. One of the teams is going to win. Like, we can't just lean on that it's early and that it's going to come later in the year and just bank on us, you know, putting a run together. So I think that's something that's going to be valuable for us. And we come out of the gate hot, and we, like Dan was saying, we don't even have to come out of the gate like firing hot, but just need to be consistent. And I think that'll be, we'll look, if we're consistent throughout the year, we'll look up at the end of the year and be in a much better spot. And we won't feel like we, you know, have the added pressure to have the best August in franchise history to get back into it. So,
how long you been growing that mustache?
I've had the mustache since college. It's gotten longer, but
it gets long.
Oh yeah,
it comes all the way down below the lip. That's impressive. I can't grow that much hair there. That's a lot.
It'll keep going. I gotta trim it, but
oh, you do.
That's the only spot. If I could shift my beard up a little bit off the neck, that'd be nice. But
I was realizing I've never really sat and talked to you, but like without that mustache, you look like much younger.
Oh yeah.
You got a baby face without that thing.
You get carded.
Yeah, I think you would get carded without that thing.
Yeah, no. In college, we had the mustache only rule. So like it was in the fall. It was mustache only, and so luckily that's all I could grow. So I was all in on it.
Hey, awesome. We appreciate it, Bryce. It's nice to get to chat with you. Nice to meet you, and looking forward to watching you this year.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for watching us at Spring Training. If you want more of this kind of content, it's pretty easy. Just subscribe.
Yep, and you can always download the Seattle Sports app as well.